Hey everyone, Mystical Mark here. This will be your weekly astrology forecast for the week of December 3rd to the 9th of 2023. This week we have Neptune going direct and Venus moving into Scorpio. So let's get into it. All right, so on Sunday we have a few things happening today. So one of kind of major note here would be Venus square Pluto will hit exact today. We also have Jupiter in trine to Black Moon Lilith, Mars quincunx Jupiter, and then Mars square Black Moon Lilith. So let's take a look here. We're going to start off with the Venus in square to Pluto. Sorry, my mind is too many things in my mind happening all at once. All right. So with Venus in square to Pluto, so we've already had Venus on the South Node. We've either dealt with maybe relationships from the past coming up, or maybe what we need to release and get rid of. But a lot of what we've kind of gone through, especially in this past year, since we have Venus retrograde and all this stuff happening, there's been a lot of like Venus themes coming up, whether it's resonated with the aspects of Taurus or the aspects of Libra or both combined all together. There's been a lot of Venus stuff happening. So with this square to Pluto, it's almost like this push to transform, especially since Venus right now, well, it's in this chart here, it's at the 29 degrees, but of course the square peaks at about halfway through 28. But Venus will be entering into Scorpio later on this week. So Scorpio is, the sign of transformation. Pluto was the modern ruler of Scorpio, right? We have a lot of this transformative type energy that's happening. With Pluto and Capricorn, we could be breaking through of old blocks, breaking through of like contracts, commitments, the aspects of maybe where we felt controlled, certain controls, maybe pushing through goals that we want to achieve, transforming to those goals, or breaking through goals and commitments and things that just weren't working for us, right? We're destroying that old foundation to kind of transform into something new. So with this square, it's really pushing on these Venus themes to shift and to change and to transform in some kind of a way. Then there's an aspect of blocks that are likely involved here, or we're trying to push through. We're trying to push through that, really. Also here, we're having Jupiter. Where are we here? Jupiter in trine to Black Moon Lilith here in Virgo. So Black Moon Lilith, it's kind of like that inner feminine rebel, maybe where we felt outcast in a lot of ways in that sense. And of course, it's trying to Jupiter retrograde. So again, we're dealing with these kind of Venus type themes. And of course, Venus, as she enters into Scorpio later this week as well, is going to be in opposition to Jupiter. So all of this is kind of coming together. It's starting to play out here. This transformation, this expansion of these things, or at least what we're wanting. We're thinking of what we're wanting to have happen. But of course, we also have Jupiter here in quincunx to Mars. So with this quincunx, there's kind of a frustration. Mars in Sagittarius, who wants to take action in these positive directions and move in all these ways and all this stuff. But Jupiter here is retrograde, right? It could be taking more time to do these things. Taurus can be quite slow, especially with Jupiter in retrograde. It could be quite slow to, achieve this abundance, to achieve these things. And with Jupiter retrograde, we're kind of going over this old space, reviewing, while maybe we're trying to move forward and expand, right? So there's something that maybe needs to be integrated from the past here. In terms of our abundance, I always think of Jupiter and Taurus. Just the word abundance just seems to fit that quite nicely. Jupiter's very expansive. Taurus is about, our material things, food, money, all that feel-good type stuff. It's like abundance, expansion of that happy, abundant type energy. So, but there's a frustration here in regarding that, and maybe how we want to take action, or the quickness to maybe how we want to take that action, right? We're very positively inspired here, but we're also kind of being slowed down by this retrograde Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, where Mars is now, and also the slowness of Taurus. So Jupiter is in trine to Black Moon Lilith here, so maybe there is this rebel that wants to, maybe escape the day-to-day, escape whatever, but there's this trine in terms of expansion. So maybe we are really maybe seeing where we want to expand in these new spaces, or wanting to take this action, but there's a frustration here is that it's happening slowly. right? We can also take a look here. So Mars is actually in square to Black Moon Lilith. So again, there's this, we want to take action to expand. We want to rebel against kind of this space, but it's kind of forcing us to take action, but there's a frustration here with maybe the slowness that it's going to take. But of course, there is this positive aspect, this trine that is here. So maybe there is something that's going to happen. We're seeing something in our day-to-day lives we want to rebel against. We want to, need to focus on the details, maybe not be so nitpicky. But there's a slowness here, and maybe things aren't expanding or happening at the rate at which that, we maybe want them to. Right? But I think the main thing here is I'm just feeling this Venus in square to Pluto here in Capricorn. I kind of feel like that's really the big energy that's happening here. We're really pushing to transform these themes. And of course, Venus is going to ingress into Scorpio, and we're really going to start to feel it then as well. All right, let's move forward to Monday here, the 4th. So on Monday the 4th, we're going to have the last quarter moon. So we're having the moon here in Virgo in square to the sun in Sagittarius. We're also going to have Venus ingress into Scorpio, right? So we kind of saw it on the previous day where we're talking about, that square to Pluto, and then bam, all of a sudden she's into Scorpio. So this is a very transformational time for a lot of those Venus type themes. Of course, Venus in Scorpio, if you're looking at like a normal birth chart, Venus in Scorpio can be very obsessive, possessive, that kind of type energy. But I really don't feel it for this time. I feel like through this transition, it's going to be just transformation. Maybe maybe focusing more on what we desire in terms of what we want to expand as well. Mars is in Sagittarius here, and Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. Pluto, the modern ruler, is in Capricorn. This could deal a lot with our goals, our career, what we want to transform maybe in terms of our stability, change foundations, break away from old aspects of maybe where we felt controlled before, and to take action to these more positive directions, and really want to transform that. And of course, that involves our relationships, our material things, money, self-worth stuff that comes into that, all of those kind of aspects of abundance that relate to Venus in that way. So of course, this last quarter moon here, moon in Virgo, sun in Sagittarius, we're dealing with all like the little things versus the big things, right? So I was kind of going over everything before starting this video, and I kind of got this analogy in my head. It's like, imagine that you're installing a pool. You live in a nice place where you can have a pool. Not all of us have that luxury. But you live in a nice place, maybe you're in California, you're in a tropical country or something, you have a nice house. They just finished installing the pool. All you gotta do, or all you think you gotta do, is fill it with water and dive right in. Well, that would be the positive, let's go into it, we're gonna have a pool, we're gonna have a pool party, all this stuff. It's the Sagittarius type energy. But then the Virgo type energy is like, whoa, wait. Gotta put the water in the pool, but what about the filtration system? Are you going to use chlorine? Are you using chlorine to, keep the stuff down in the water? Is it going to be like salt water? Is it going to what's it going to be? And then if you get the chemicals in the pool, you got to test to make sure they're the right balance. You don't want people to get in and end up with some like rash or something, especially if you have kids or the neighbor's kids are going to use the pool. You want to make sure everything is set, all the filters are working, all this stuff. That's very Virgo, all those like little nitpicky things, making sure the water's clean, all of that kind of stuff. So it's like we kind of we're having these big positive things that we want to do, but it's like, whoa, we have to make sure that we're also, checking up on the minor details as well, just to make sure, right? Of course, this is the last quarter moon, so sometimes last quarter moon can be like a last-ditch effort to kind of get something done. So we may be realizing this, maybe in our day-to-day lives and schedules, that if we really want to have this abundant space, that we really are starting to take action. Of course, it's around Christmas time, so maybe it's like, all right, we got to buy all the gifts and stuff now, especially since, Mercury's in shadow. Mercury goes retrograde on the 13th. So get all the gifts now, because once Mercury retrograde comes, there's going to be delays, there's going to be all this stuff. And I mean, that could be also happening now as well during the shadow period. So it's like, get it done early so that, yeah, we have a fun, positive Christmas, and, we didn't just ignore these details that are happening, right? All right, so that's Monday. Let's have a look here at Tuesday. So Tuesday, we're going to have Venus here in Scorpio, now in trine to Saturn in Pisces. So I always consider Saturn in Pisces like the dissolver of structures, or the dissolver of blocks, the dissolver of that control, the dissolver of those Saturnian type energies, right? So with Venus in Scorpio here, she's wanting to transform, wanting to change, like I said, these Libra, Taurus type themes, aspects of abundance, relationships, all of that. We're wanting to switch and transform, all those kinds of things. And with this trine to Saturn, there could be some blocks that we've experienced in doing that. And now we're starting to, seeing where we can work through them, transform them, dissolve them. So the trine, this is a positive aspect. So despite the fact that, Venus is in Scorpio, Scorpio can be kind of scary. A lot of people don't like Scorpio, but it's facing that stuff and having that strong desire to have that transformation occur and be willing to go through with it can help us to break through a lot of those blocks and transform, right? This could be very sensitive energy as well. It could be sensitive, listen to your intuition regarding this, but I feel like it's really just pushing through and transforming and dissolving a lot of those blocks. All right, take a look at Wednesday here, the 6th. So on Wednesday is when we're going to have Neptune turn direct. Oops, there we go. So yeah, so you can see here Neptune's no longer retrograde. It is now direct in Pisces. I was thinking about this last week, and again, I kind of got this analogy. Imagine, if you will, very Neptune in Pisces, imagine that you're in your car and you're stuck in traffic, but it's dark out. It's like nighttime or like early morning, right? And it's really foggy. It's like you can barely see around you. You can maybe see like a foot or two around your car, and that's about it. You can see the taillights of the car in front of you, headlights of the car behind you, the lights of maybe the cars beside you. There's something there, but you can't really see it. You can see the street lights overhead. You can see the light coming through, but you don't really know where they're coming from, or if there are even street lights that are producing that light. Who knows what it could be. But you're in your car, you can partially see, and you're just dead stopped in traffic, right? That's kind of been like this past week with Neptune, like station, right? So you're kind of dead stop in the fog. You're not really sure. You can't see why traffic is stopped. You can't see what's going on, and you're just kind of like waiting and trusting. But now with Neptune direct, it's all of a sudden, the sun starts to come up, traffic starts to move a little bit. You start moving more in a direction. Things start to become a bit more clear. I don't want to say the fog will lift, but the fog will lift more, I guess you could say. This could be your intuition maybe turning on a bit more, maybe through this retrograde. You've seen, maybe where your blocks are or something in terms of intuition, or you're working on some things, maybe where, Pisces is deception too. We've been going over things of, maybe where we've felt deceived, where we haven't really been seeing clearly in a lot of things, where the illusion was. Now with Neptune moving forward, we might begin to see a bit more clearly on those types of things. Right? So that's kind of what I got. So Neptune will be moving forward now, so we may gain a bit more clarity on certain things moving forward now. All right, so let's go then to Thursday the 7th. And here we're going to have Sun in exact trine to Chiron, as well as Mercury in trine to Jupiter. So with the Sun here in trine to Chiron, Sun in Sagittarius, Chiron in Aries. Remember, Chiron is retrograde in Aries, dealing with these wounds to ourselves, our independence, individuality. So the Sun in Sagittarius, it wants to light up, it wants to expand, right? But with Chiron here, with this trine, we may be working on healing a lot of where we have been hurt in the past. All right, so there's this positive trine, the positive aspect, and of course Sagittarius brings in this positive, expansive energy. So maybe we're expanding, or we're wanting to take action to expand into new areas away from where we have felt hurt before. And let's take a look at this Mercury here in trine to Jupiter. So Jupiter obviously rules Sagittarius. It is retrograde. So again, we're going kind of over those old spaces. Chiron is retrograde, Jupiter is retrograde, kind of having this effect. But Mercury here in Capricorn now trine to Jupiter as well. So there may be maybe some kind of aspect of positive communication in terms of, and this could be surrounding our goals, career, maybe some kind of aspects of control. It depends on kind of how this has affected us, but it could be some kind of aspect of control, career related stuff, as maybe we're dealing with more Venus-y type stuff that's kind of, like I said, Venus has been like a major theme through a lot of this. We maybe have been, and Venus here is in sextile to Mercury as well in Scorpio. So there's this transformation that wants to occur as well. And a lot of this deals with our abundance. Mars is in Sagittarius here too, right? So we really want to kind of positively transform and to heal a lot of where we've been hurt, like individually in that sense. So I feel like there's maybe more of a positive transformation that's kind of coming from this day. All right, let's move on to Friday here. We take a look at Friday. Nothing major is really happening on Friday. Just moon moving into Scorpio. But again, I'm not going to touch on that. I only really touch on the major transits that are peaking here this week. So then let's move on to Saturday. So Saturday the 9th, we're going to have Mercury here in Capricorn in trine to Black Moon Lilith here in Virgo. So again, like this rebel feminine type energy, maybe where you want to draw boundaries. So I almost feel like there's kind of really boundary energy that exists here, especially with Mercury in Capricorn and Black Moon Lilith here in Virgo. We're wanting to communicate maybe some aspect of maybe boundaries of, again, the sextile to a Venus in Scorpio, where we want to transform. This maybe could feel a bit harsh, but it's in order for us to, and also with the Chiron energy from the previous day, in order for us to have the hurts not happen to us again, sometimes you have to draw the line somewhere. Sometimes you have to set those boundaries, right? So that could be a theme that's kind of coming up through this as well. Also on this day, Venus in Scorpio is going to oppose Jupiter here in Taurus. So again, Jupiter expands whatever it touches, so this transformative aspect of Venus here in Scorpio. Again, transforming these Venus-type themes. Of course, Venus rules Taurus, where Jupiter is, so this is highlighting that once again. Dealing with our abundance. There's a lot of abundance, investments, transforming. A lot of this transformation in Jupiter kind of type energy. I feel like through parts of November, we've gone through that Scorpio season, the stellium in Scorpio, all of that Scorpio energy. And now Venus is making her movement here, but we have Mars in Sagittarius now. We have a lot of this kind of expansive type energy, but it's like we're still wanting to make these transformative changes, but in new directions and in new positive directions as well. Whether this is kind of an underlying thing or, like this has happened. I say that because it's like it's happening slowly. So it's like it's maybe starting to brew up, starting to kind of happen. Like I said earlier in the week, there may be frustrations with things that we want to expand with, want to change. But again, it's just requiring more time. And of course, Jupiter here is in retrograde. I believe Jupiter, let's see the exact date it's going to go direct. Yeah, December 30th. So when Jupiter goes direct. So basically right before the new year. So as we head into the new year, is when things are going to really start to move forward in terms of, shall we say, abundance, or a lot of these Venus type themes that we're kind of dealing with here. So December, a lot is going to be changing and expanding, but it might be a little slow moving at first, but we are moving, we are transitioning, we are moving forward. And I feel like by the end of the month, things are really going to have shifted in some kind of new direction. Also here, we're going to have the Sun in square to Juno in Virgo. So this could be changes in, again, expansion, or this pressure to cause these changes in expansion in terms of our contractual partnerships and relationships. This could be marriages. Again, this could be business contracts, those kinds of things. But there's a square here. again, it's pushing for action. There could be some kind of frustration maybe with previous contracts and partnerships that push us to expand in new directions, take action on that, right? So Sun here is still in trine to Chiron, North Node energy. So we're wanting to maybe move forward into new positive directions where we're not going to feel wounded and hurt. So again, like relationship kind of type energy, contractual type energy. I mean, Juno can kind of relate to Venus in terms of committed types of relationships, but it's also commitments and contracts in terms of a business sense as well, which could be Venus related because Venus also rules Taurus, which rules our material things, how we accumulate those things through jobs, careers, that kind of stuff. So I feel it's all kind of like interrelated this week. Like transformation, expansion, wanting to move in new directions, and yeah. Anyways, that's really all I have for this week. I just want to shift it back to me. All right, so yeah, if you like this video, you know what to do. If you didn't like it, well, you also know what to do. Feel free to leave a comment below, just letting me know what you thought, letting me know how your week was, any of that kind of information. If you want to know more about me, all that stuff is in the description below as well. Anyways, thank you guys. Take care. Have a great week.